Hello and welcome to Business Watch. I'm your host, Bob Williford, President of the Henderson County Chamber of Commerce, and Business Watch is a joint project sponsored by the Chamber and Blue Ridge Community College. Our program focuses on our local Henderson County economy and the economic drivers that make it successful. Previous programs have focused on real estate trends in Henderson County and the Henderson County summer camp industry. Recordings of those programs can be found at our website, www.brcctv.org. Today, we're going to do something a little different, and we're going to talk about starting and growing a business. Our guests are Gary Heisey, Director of the Small Business Center here at Blue Ridge Community College, and Amy Morgan, President of Blue Ridge Lighting Supply Company, a local business and one of 10 recipients of last year's Blue Ridge Business Growth Awards. Welcome, Amy, and welcome, Gary.
Thank you.
Hope y'all are doing well today.
We are. We are. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm going to ask both of you questions, and Gary, I'm going to focus most of the startup questions towards you.
Okay.
And Amy, I'm going to get you to talk about how you, once you've started a business, you get it growing and expanding.
Okay.
So Gary, now, how long have you been here at Blue Ridge Community College, and what do you do at the Small Business Center? What kind of services can someone expect?
I've been with the community college for 6 years. Blue Ridge Community College is one of 58 community colleges in North Carolina. So if you live in North Carolina, there's a community college within about an hour of where you live. And each of those community colleges have a small business center, and each of those small business centers have 3 basic things they do. So if you go anywhere in the state, you can find these basic services. The first thing the Small Business Center does is they provide one-on-one advice for somebody that is looking to come in to start a business. And that advice can be, do I have a good idea? Is this a good idea for the current economy? Is this a good idea for me? So it can start with basic questions like that. And we sit down with people one-on-one, provide that advice, and we coach them not only from starting a business to sort of growing a business, or it can be somebody that's wanting to transition a business to a family member, to their employees, or they might be interested in selling that business and either retiring or transitioning into another business.
So you're working not only with entrepreneurs wanting to start a business, it's also existing businesses and helping them grow and
that is
be
correct.
successful.
And that first service is offered at no cost. The second service we offer is we do trainings throughout the year, and those trainings are based on local needs. So it just depends on what the businesses, either the startup businesses or existing businesses need. If you take as an example, in the last year we did about 150 training programs, and we had about 3,000 people that went through and took that training within Henderson and Transylvania County.
Give us an example. What kind of training programs are you talking about?
If you take in the last 2 weeks, we had a work from home conference that we had in Brevard, and that was helping people that want to start a home-based business or have an existing home business that want to expand or grow. Last week we had an event planning conference, and it was a half-day conference for people that wanted to be an event planner or were event planners. In the last 6 weeks, we had a program for people that want to start and grow a business in the 2012 economy, as an example, and that was for businesses that had under $500,000 in sales, or they could just be one employee, a solo entrepreneur. We had another 4-week program which was for companies that have more than $500,000 in sales and a minimum of 5 or more employees. So it just really varies on what the basic need is. And that's the second thing is that we provide at no cost is those training programs. And then the third thing we provide at any of the community colleges around the state are we match you up with federal, state, local, county, and city resources to help you start or grow your business.
Well, those are some very specific programs. That's you hit every niche. And Amy, you're a president.
Yes.
Of Blue Ridge Lighting Supply Company.
Yes.
And now, how long have you been in that role, and how did you get hooked up with Blue Ridge Lighting Supply?
Well, we are a family-owned business. Basically, we've been in business for 25 years this year. My dad actually started this business out of the back of his station wagon, basically delivering just a couple of items, and we grew from that point. He kind of stepped back about the last 10 years and kind of gave me an opportunity to become operations manager, to kind of handle every aspect of the business. So there's really not anything that I haven't done. And
now that was after the station wagon.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Definitely after the station wagon.
Okay.
The station wagon was about 22 years ago.
Okay. Take a left to the next turn. Sorry.
And here in the last couple of years, I did take over ownership. We were a sole proprietor, and I chose to become a S corporation purely for the aspect of no double taxation. We chose that, and I didn't want the personal liability that a sole proprietorship takes on, and we've been pretty successful in that direction.
Well, excellent. And now, Gary, that's one of the early decisions that people going into business have to make, isn't it?
Correct.
Is it? So you can be a sole proprietor, a partnership, a LLC.
Subchapter S corporation. There's a number of choices available in North Carolina, and it really depends on, you had mentioned about liability. Some people are looking to ways to minimize liability. One way you can minimize your liability is to have liability insurance, whether you're a sole proprietor or a corporation. Mm-hmm. With a corporation, since the corporation is a separate legal entity versus the owner, it gives you even more liability protection because if it's a separate legal entity. Whereas a sole proprietor, you are the business is you then.
All right. Well, I mean, if you look at these one by one, what are the kind of pros and cons? I know sole proprietorship, obviously the con is the liability. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Easy to operate. You only have to basically do federal and state income taxes because you're doing personal income taxes, and you're adding a separate form into that, which is a sole proprietor form. So you basically have two sets of taxes you need to do. If you incorporate or you become a partnership, then you're going to 4 sets of taxes that you're having to do. One personal state, one personal federal, one corporate state, one corporate federal. So it increases the amount of paperwork you're needing to do. So with a corporation or a partnership, there's definite benefits to it, but it is a little bit more complex. It does require more paperwork, and there are more fees that go along with it to maintain those on an annual basis each year in the state of North Carolina.
Yeah, and you went to S Corp and said the extra paperwork was worth it for you.
Yes, absolutely. Just for the pure fact of not having that double taxation. I mean, we're saving about 12 to 15% in taxes by being an S corporation. So we chose that avenue.
That's awesome.
And a lot of people, when they start, do start as a sole proprietor like your dad did, and then at some point in time the decision is made, we're established enough, we have enough revenue, we want to be able to take advantage of other things we can write off that a sole proprietorship wouldn't allow you to do, whereas a corporation allows you to do that. So it's pretty typical for a lot of people to start as a sole proprietor, and then phase 2 is they make it, they become a separate legal entity, whether it's a partnership or a corporation.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We basically changed our name. We're Blue Ridge Lighting Supply Incorporated now. And I've had the business for a couple of years, and in this type business, we're a commercial industrial lighting company. So in this type business, it's ever changing. Things change all the time. There's so much out there in energy saving options. And we work with Duke Power and Progress Energy, and we're a trade ally for them to help a commercial type business get a rebate to go ahead and do the transition into the more energy efficient options that are out there. LED, induction, there's just limitless.
Right.
And basically what we do is we don't have a showroom, but we do have some items on display so that we can show people, you know, what their options are. We start with what they're using now, and we show them a more energy efficient option. And 9 times out of 10, they're like, oh, I had no idea. Right. So to be able to do that's great.
Now you were a recipient of last year's Blue Ridge Business Growth Awards. We had 10 recipients.
Yes.
And that's based on growth of revenues over the past 3 years, employment growth over the past 3 years, either or a mix of both.
Yes.
And you're in the lighting supply business. How did you grow your business through what was, for most people, a pretty tough time?
Yes, it was a tough time. And about 4 years ago, we did have to put some of our employees on part-time. You know, I made the decision there that you can't just sit and wait to be an order taker. You have to go out and get the business. You have to advertise. You have to go out there and present options to people. And you know, it's not an industry where you can just sit back and take orders anymore. So I just kind of developed the philosophy that way, trained my sales staff in that direction, so that, you know, in my type of business, of course, we have an open door policy, so you never know who's going to walk through the door. It could be the owner of Blue Ridge Community College. Mm-hmm. You just, you know, it varies. It could be the owner of a grocery store. We go from a residential user all the way up to manufacturing facilities, grocery stores. You know, it's kind of a full service supply. We don't do any of the install, but we have the knowledge to be able to point that customer in the direction to save the most amount of energy.
Now, and this may be a topic for a whole another program, but am I correct in understanding that the federal government has regulations that will phase out certain types of lighting?
Oh, absolutely.
So everybody's going through a transition to more efficient lighting.
As a matter of fact, I've preached it for the last 3 years, and now finally, July of this year is when the first phase out is going to start. At literally 2 months from now is when they're going to quit manufacturing certain lamps that don't meet the requirements. So unfortunately, the utility companies are already backing away from the things that you're going to have to do immediately, like such as changing a T12 fluorescent lamp to a T8, just a simple changeover. And they're going to...
Simple for you.
Exactly. It is for me.
A T12 and a T8, I don't know if I could tell.
The old style lamps, T12, lamps are measured in 1/8 of an inch, so that just tells you the diameter of the lamp. So usually I just tell people the skinny bulb versus the fat bulb.
I understand that part.
And you know, in manufacturing facilities, there's technology now where you can take a 400-watt light bulb and use a 155-watt light bulb. Mm-hmm. And that lamp, literally, the first is 20,000 an hour, and the new energy efficient option is 100,000 an hour. Right. I mean, you think about, well, are you taking away from your business? But I don't look at it that way. I kind of look at it as, you know, informing the consumer, saving money. I'm a business owner myself. I would want someone to do that for me as well.
Well, we'll come back to some of that. Mm-hmm. That's such a broad.
Yeah, it is.
We could do a whole program.
I just kind of went off there, so.
That's all right. Now, Gary, somebody wants to start a business, and we refer a lot of people to come see you. They walk in our doors and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about starting a business. What should I do?" And we say, "Go talk to Gary at the Small Business Center." Yeah. And now, when a person started from scratch, what are the steps that they need to go through before they open the doors and start that business?
I think the first thing we sort of start with somebody is, what are they really trying to get out of the business? And different business models have different capacities. Mm-hmm. So if somebody's wanting to, you know, make $10,000 from a business versus $50,000 or $100,000 or $250,000 from the business, it's a different business model. So we try to help them match up with what they're looking for.
I assume most people want the $250,000 if given those options.
A lot of people would think that, but a lot of people come in and they're just
more realistic.
They're looking for something to sort of supplement what they're making now, or to replace what they're making now. So a lot of people are looking for even a part-time business where they can make $10,000, $15,000, or somebody that's maybe looking at making $30,000 or $40,000. That's pretty typical for people that are coming in. And then there's people that come in with higher capacity. They're looking for higher incomes then. So the first thing we try to get a feel for is what is their capacity, what are they looking for, and is there a business model that sort of matches up with that? So they don't find themselves 2 or 3 years down the road, they put money into it, they put a lot of time into it, and now they're disappointed because the business isn't able to give them what they want. So that's sort of the starting point. Once we come up with what they're looking to accomplish from the business, then we look at the business idea. Is it a good business idea for this area, for this economy, and based on their talent and capacity they can put into the business? And once we have a good match there, then the next thing is really looking at putting together a business plan to sort of guide them in their decision process. And that might be an internal document that helps them make more wise decisions versus poor decisions. And that document also can be used to take to an organization if they're wanting to borrow money. So I'd say once we come up with the basics, the next thing is to help them put together a business plan, either for a document for within the company or to go to borrow money, or one that handles both.
And it seems almost of equal importance is when somebody is putting together a business plan and asking themselves those questions, that they may find that, oh, maybe this isn't
Yes.
what I want to do, or maybe
Absolutely.
this isn't going to turn out the way I had anticipated.
Well, it might be somebody that comes in and they want to open up a restaurant. And when they realize how many hours they're going to have to put into that restaurant and how much capital they're going to have to put into that restaurant, and what the failure rate is for first-time restaurants, maybe a catering business makes more sense because it takes less capital, it's less time, and you have a higher success rate. The big trend right now around the country is food trucks, where somebody has a food truck and they're mobile and they go out to different places. And with Twitter and social media now, they can tweet out where they're going to be at a certain time. So their followers know that 11 o'clock they're going to be at a certain location, and they go by there and pick up their food then. So it's really matching it up not just with their interests and their capacity and capital, but what are the current trends that make sense. And maybe a food truck makes more sense than a restaurant, or maybe a catering business makes more sense than a restaurant. Or there's a business up in AB Tech, on the AB Tech campus, which is a commercial kitchen that's part of Advantage West. Maybe going into a commercial kitchen and producing a product makes a whole lot more sense. Commercial kitchen right now, if you purchase it, you're looking at $60,000 to $80,000 for a commercial kitchen. That's a lot of capital up front before you sell one product. Up there you can go and you can register, and I think right now it's $24 an hour, and you can go in there, and if you work for 10 hours, it costs you $240 versus starting off at $60,000 to do that 10 hours. So it's finding that right resource for them that sort of matches up with their idea.
Yeah, restaurants, good times and bad times. They start and some don't make it and some do. So that's a tough business.
Yeah.
A lot of hours.
We're kind of lucky kind of having the type of business that we do, because fortunately everybody needs lighting.
Yeah,
So when you think of it that way. So
That's
we've just positioned ourselves to where everyone knows, and word of mouth is the best way to do
I was
it.
going to ask you that. It's two things. One you mentioned about kind of educating your customers about what they need to be prepared for, and how you can help them save money on their electric bills and other things.
Absolutely.
But on customer service and marketing, I mean, what are y'all's strategies to, I mean, you've been successful growing the business for a number of years.
Training the people that work for me to be able to offer that as well. It's staying up to date on the new. It changes so often. It's almost like computers or something like that. Technology advances and changes so fast, and like even with LEDs, they're already in their 4th generation. So it's rapidly changing. Staying up with that technology. You know, even if I get my distributors to send me samples of things, because you can't sell it if you don't have it there.
Yeah.
So that's made a huge impact, and
But I think
picking
that's
up the
a very,
telephone.
very key point, is being an expert in your field,
Absolutely.
that your customers can call you and get that advice rather than trying to.
Yeah, the big box distributors, the Home Depots, the Lowe's of the world, you know, they can't stock everything. Not to say that I stock everything, but we do have we hear on a daily basis, well, they sent us here from Lowe's or Home Depot, so I'm like, wow, we must be doing something right.
Well, you get a lot of referrals. That's positive.
Exactly. And what they say is, if you can't find it here, well, then you can't find it anywhere in, North Carolina anyway. A lot of our competitors come to us because they're not able to stock anymore, because they don't have that. With the economy the way it is, they have limitations. And myself being a small business owner, I kind of weigh those, and you can't sell off an empty shelf. So I have a lot more flexibility there.
And just so the audience knows, your market area
Yes.
is not just Henderson County.
No, it's North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Virginia. We have a contract with a national grocery distributor who have independent grocers. There's there's a lot of the mainstream Harris Teeters, Ingles, but there's a lot of independents there too.
Right.
And it's a centralized place where they can buy certain material from the company's called Merchants Distributors Incorporated, and they supply kind of a different options to the independents, and we are their lighting option. So if they need lighting for their ceiling, for their freezers, for their coolers, new ideas, anything like that, they come to us. So that kind of definitely broaden our area.
Well, that's very nice. And you're a small business, but you've got a
Yes.
very big market area.
Yes, we do, and we try to keep it that way. It's hard, but it's basically where we have to focus, because there's a lot of the little guys that walk in and they want a $200 project, and it's hard to try to figure out how to stop that and allocate your time the way that it should be for the people that came in on the telephone or the people that came in before you.
Right.
That's difficult to juggle.
So you start off the back of a station wagon,
Yeah,
servicing a whole region.
and I worked in my father's basement.
Okay. Not only clean the car, you clean the basement too. Yeah. That's good.
Kind of taking care of odds and ends there, and then this is like our third location. We've been where we are on South Grove Street in Hendersonville for the last 10 years. Like I said, we've been in business for 25 years, so just knowing how lighting started and knowing where it is now, to me, is really amazing. The changes that are out there and available, and it's a very exciting kind of a business. It's very time consuming.
It's very enlightening. Sorry. Couldn't help it.
You had to do that,
Yes.
didn't you? It is, and it's never a dull moment. Literally, it changes every single day. So it's not a 9-to-5 job. If you're interested in being your own
Now, Gary,
boss.
how much is being passionate about your business a key to your success?
Oh, huge.
Because you can hear Amy talking about how exciting the lighting business is, and she's really fired up about it. Now that's important, isn't it?
That is important, and I think you have to have the right idea first, and then you have to be passionate about it. And if you're providing something that people want to buy, then you're going to be successful because you got the right product that they need, and you're also passionate about it. And businesses want to position themselves as a local expert. So when people need advice, they go to the expert. And a lot of times big chains can't provide that to you because they can't be the expert in everything. So if you take Lowe's or Home Depot as an example, they have a lighting department, but they have lots of other departments too. And if somebody needs real expertise or specialty products, that's where the referral comes into companies like yourself then.
All right, now we're backing up a little bit. You've talked to someone, they've gotten their business plan put together. Now they're going to use that business plan as one of the key points of going out and trying to obtain funding, capital for starting a business.
Correct.
So that's the next step, I guess, is all about finances.
It's all about finances. Do you have enough capital to sort of sustain your business until your business becomes successful? And as a general rule, it's going to take you more time to do that, and it's going to take you more money to do that. So you always want to allocate more time to start your business, and you always want to allocate more money to start your business. And then you have a business that's sustainable, it can grow like your business has done over the last 25 years.
Yeah, and sources, obviously there's banks. We
I
don't
would say-
encourage people using credit cards to.
No.
Correct,
No.
correct. Your best source of funding for the lowest interest rate is going to be your local bank. And usually local banks would rather do business with an existing business because the risk is lower, and they got financials and they can look at it. So for a startup business, as an example, going to a local bank, they're going to basically require collateral, and they need collateral to back up that loan. And if there's something there that they would like to offer you the financing, but there's something there that's a little bit, maybe your credit score is a little bit lower than it needs to be, that's where SBA comes in, the Small Business Administration. And the Small Business Administration can back the bank loan, and that allows the banker to loan money to somebody they typically wouldn't be able to. And that's how the Small Business Administration comes in as a backing agent. They don't loan the money directly like they did in the early 90s. So that's another option. And then there's what they call micro-loan organizations. And micro-loan organizations really specialize on startup businesses because they do have higher risk. You pay a little bit more in an interest rate for that loan, but the loan is structured there to help you start and grow. So in our region, there's 2 microloan organizations. One is Self-Help Credit Union, which is based out of Asheville for this region here, and then Mountain BizWorks is another one that basically loans money. And usually a microloan organization loans up to $50,000. Mountain BizWorks here within the last 4 weeks has moved their ceiling up to around $100,000. Yes. So they specialize in really doing startup businesses, people that can't quite qualify for a bank loan. They help you get your capital, get started, and improve your business so that you can really go to a bank, traditional bank, and borrow money at a little bit lower interest rates. So they're a good transition partner to the banking industry for people that can't start at their local bank, as an example.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got funding now. Mm-hmm. So you're very successful and you get the bank to, next step is it location, finding the right place?
And knowledge goes a long way. Knowing your product, knowing what you're selling, like you said, feeling passionate about it. It makes a difference as a small business owner.
And I would say probably something to piggyback with that is looking at who your target market is, because you can't sell to everybody. And who is really your target market, and really what do they want and what do they need, and making sure you're matching those needs and wants. And then that allows you to have customers that stay with you year after year, because you truly understand them and you're providing a good service to them and you're providing a good product at a good price. And that's where you're able to stay in business 25 years. So you've done an excellent job at that.
Thank you.
That's terrific. Now, you're going to open your business. You call the Chamber of Commerce, we come cut a ribbon, everybody celebrates. And then I think it goes back to what you said, you don't sit back and wait for the phone to ring.
No,
right.
You're
going to go out and be aggressive and
yes, that's
be
what
proactive.
it takes in this market.
And I would say previously, a lot of businesses built their business on traditional advertising, which was newspaper, yellow pages,
right.
TV, radio. And what you're finding in the current economy is you have to look at not only the traditional approaches, but you have to look at non-traditional approaches. And one of those non-traditional approaches is more grassroots marketing. And that's where the Chamber is an excellent resource for that, because you have 1,000 members in your Chamber, and they can network with those members at business after hours, at different events that you're sort of offering. So that's where joining the Chamber becomes a good investment. But just joining the Chamber and not doing anything doesn't ensure success. You really do have to participate, network, get known by people, and that's where the true success comes from, is that networking.
Brings people together.
Yes.
We're getting close on time.
Okay.
So we're going to wrap things up, and thank you very much, Gary.
It's a
pleasure.
And Amy.
Absolutely.
We do need to come back and maybe revisit some of this, because I think we got about halfway to, well, we got
Sure.
to opening the doors of
Yeah,
the business.
exactly.
And now we want to get into marketing that business, all the different avenues you can go, the guerrilla marketing, the things that don't cost much, and the more traditional marketing that could be needed. So thank you all for joining us at Business Watch or on Business Watch. This is a joint program sponsored by the Henderson County Chamber of Commerce and Blue Ridge Community College and BRCC TV. Thank you.